Today's session will provide practical insights into this new reporting requirement, especially in the Lower Mainland within the three municipalities of the City of Vancouver, Victoria, and Saanich. Once again, thank you for your time to be here today. We look forward to engaging in an informative session. I will now hand it over to my colleague Bruce, who will walk us through the presentation. And there will be time for question and answer, and feel free to send your questions through the chat box and raise your hand in the end. We'll definitely have a question and answer. Thank you. Bruce, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Sanjay. Good evening, everyone. This is very high-level overview of GHG requirements, a little bit about the program and requirements, and as mentioned, open to answer any specific questions, but hopefully this answers the majority of them. First of all, the reporting requirements we want to make clear is the energy carbon emissions reporting requirements that are for multi-unit residential properties, and they're required to submit an annual energy use and greenhouse gas emissions data. So this applies to all residential properties in the City of Vancouver, covered by a bylaw that was passed a couple of years ago. It does not apply to properties on the UBC endowment lands. It does apply to properties within the City of Victoria, again, and also the District of Saanich. So of the Capital Regional District, Victoria and Saanich are the only two participants at this time. And in Saanich, it's covered under the Energy Carbon Emissions Reporting Bylaw of 2025. So again, these reports are mandated, similar to the electrical planning report, but not optional. So important to keep that in mind. So the core data requirements that are supposed to be submitted is basically the annual energy use by fuel type, total electricity usage, total gas consumption, any other fuels that are on the property like heating oil or propane. If you're hooked up to district energy, all of these things are taken into account and included in the report. The greenhouse gas emissions, so from all of this data, the reporting must include the GHG emissions that are calculated from the type of fuel that's being used. Part of the step is creating a Energy Star portfolio management, the ESPM, which is an account. So this is a data that's entered into this platform, and it's a benchmarking platform that's used throughout North America for tracking and controlling energy use and carbon footprinting. So the city, after it's been uploaded to the ESPM, the city accesses this data with a read-only access and allows them to ongoing monitor the building. And if you do improvements over time or meet other criteria, it's all updated in the ESPM. So a central suppository of information. The report also contains a workbook which has all the technical data that backs up all the information that's on ESPM for deeper dive if an authority needs to do that. We see a lot of mixed use sites, especially in the City of Vancouver and Victoria. So residential properties with other legal identities. This was a bit of a challenge the first year of reporting in the City of Vancouver. There's a lot of mixed use, so commercial, retail, hotels, things like that have legal footprints on the property. So these ones, basically, it's usually the largest footprint that is on the site that is assigned the governing authority. But regardless, we've had one building in the City of Vancouver. There's 5 legal entities. In the end, there's one entity that's established as the lead entity, and then all of those other entities are combined into one physical address for reporting purposes. They're all amalgamated and they're all put under one building ID. So if you're one of these mixed use, so you look on the map, you'll be part of a amalgamated building ID address. So the report must also include data for all the entities, even if the utilities are billed separately. So if you have several entities, everybody gets their own energy bills. They all need to be collated together and reported as one. There are fines for non-reporting or late or incomplete reporting. The first year in the City of Vancouver, most of the reports or most of the kind of like enforcement came out late in the year. It was hard to get all the reporting done. So there were extensions allowed for the first year. But eventually all the reporting did get done over time. So bylaw notices may be issued for missing or late submissions, failure to register the building in the reporting system, And each notice can range from $250 in the Capital Regional District to $500 in the City of Vancouver. So this is per violation or missing report. Other thing to note is that the fines are managed through the bylaw enforcement, so not through any other government agency, but also paying the fines if you are levied a fine doesn't replace actually requiring to report. So it's a scaled up reporting penalty situation. And also unpaid fines may be sent to a collection agency ultimately if it gets that bad. One of the ways to track your building, find your building, look at your address is basically the City of Vancouver has a live interactive GHG emissions map. It's pretty well real time as the building's performance and requirements for reporting. We're going to see it rolled out in the City of Victoria and Saanich as well. Those aren't ready for prime time yet. But basically, each building's basic information and compliance status is available online via this interactive app. And there's 3 statuses. So there's green, which means the building's in compliance. There's yellow, which means it's in progress. And it's red, meaning it's out of compliance. If we look at the City of Vancouver's GHG map, as you see, there's lots of buildings that are green. There's a few that are red, and there's a few that are yellow. So if you click on one of these little dots, the building ID actually comes up and you see the information on the building. So sharing the data on the building and what actually is displayed on this map is up to the property owner. You can limit the public disclosure, or you can have it for the world to see if you so choose. So deadlines by area for submitting GHG reporting. So in City of Vancouver, last year came into effect for June 1st, 2025, reporting for the year of 2024 calendar year were buildings over 100,000 square feet. And then this year, June 1st was the deadline, or is the deadline for buildings over 50,000 square feet. Again, we're reporting for the calendar year of 2025, deadline June 1st, 2026. One of the realities of reporting is most of the time all the data available or that is needed for the report only becomes available in February for the past December's usage. So basically the reporting is from March, like right now, to the end of May to meet the deadline. We're happy to report we never had anybody out of compliance or getting fined last year. We hope to do the same. It's always a challenge between all the different BC Hydro and Fortis and different hydro utilities and the cities and their departments. But we look forward to this reporting year. In the City of Victoria and Saanich, they both have the same deadlines, but the building size is a little bit reduced. So they're basically starting at buildings that are over 30,000 square feet, have to start reporting this year for last year's consumption or emissions. And then next year is buildings over 10,000 square feet. So that's quite a small footprint for a residential strata property. We do see this probably rolling out into other areas around the province, but right now these are the 3 jurisdictions that have it actually as bylaws and requirement. So determining square footage, that's the first thing is, hey, does our building qualify? And last year is fairly easy because 100,000 square feet, that's a fairly large property, usually a tower. When you get into 50,000 or 30,000 or 10,000, it's more, encapsulates more buildings. But essentially you go to a data source. So data sources that are relied upon would be the registered strata plan that often has the square footage, architectural floor plans, a depreciation report, could go find the original development permit drawings that would have square footage on them. You could access BC assessment or even city records a lot of times between building permit records. The application or occupancy permits would have information that's useful to determine the square footage in property. So ultimately what you need to do is report the GFA or the total gross floor area. And this would include all the residential units, the hallways, the amenity rooms, all the mechanical rooms, lobbies, and storage rooms throughout the property. What's excluded is any open surface parking that's not enclosed and not conditioned, doesn't have fans or air conditioning or anything like that. Open balconies and exterior canopies are not included in the gross square footage of the property. So we, as Electric Asset, we offer full service compliance and reporting at a relatively reasonable price. But what we do is we collect all of the data wherever we have to find it, and we enter it into the workbook. We set up the account and everything like that. So basically we do all the collection of all the electric, gas, and energy data that's needed every calendar year. If we change it in the next coming years, we adopt it accordingly. We do the assembly and digitizing all the historic records of the property. So all the billing and depreciation reports, anything we can accumulate on your building, we'll put together and we'll put it onto our digital platform, which creates a digital twin for the property. Sorry, I'm just going to mute a few people here. So we create a digital twin of your building. And basically what we do is we create on a platform that's accessible and you can pull reports off, is all that data goes in to build a profile of your building. And over time, that profile is built on more reports, more information that could be fed into the building. Digital twin helps you as a council or strata manager or a building owner, operator, make better decisions about your building and what might be coming down the road. The services include filing the annual energy and GHG report by the calendar year, June 1st. As mentioned, if there's problems getting the data together, we'll request an extension, and those have historically been granted if needed. We do a consolidated build-aware digital data, which is available to management councils. We can produce reports actually on your building. You don't have to go hunting for all these different reports all over the place. They're centralized in one area. It does include the management of the process through full GHG reporting compliance. So whatever it takes to get through to compliance, we make that happen on behalf of your building. So the other reporting services that kind of go along with GHG seems to be an endless stream of things that are requirements. But one thing we wanted to make clear is the things that are mandated and required and the things that are optional. First of all, there's an EPR, which is throughout BC. It's applicable electrical planning report, basically looks at your property and says, how much capacity do you have and what does it look like for heat pumps or EV charging or any kind of electrical upgrades you might want to add to your system. It is mandated under the Strata Act, not an optional program that to participate in. We also produce EV ready plans. EV ready plans are only required if you want to apply for rebates to put in EV chargers, whether that's visitor parking or do an EV upgrade for the entire building. An EV ready plan is required for that. Vault maintenance reports. So this is basically electrical system health and safe operation report that is good, especially on larger buildings or older buildings, to look at your electrical system and see exactly what kind of shape it is and the chance of failure in the coming years. And if there is something wrong that needs to be addressed, at least you have time to plan it and budget for any kind of maintenance or upgrades that you might need down the road. Rebate management. This is our thing. We do all the pre-approvals and process management of the rebates, document submissions. If there's problems between any of the entities involved in the process, we make sure those are all taken care of, again, on your behalf. We offer council support, town hall information sessions. So if you're doing something that's confusing to owners, we'll attend a meeting, whether it's online or in person, SGMs, AGMs, those kind of things. We offer that kind of support to make sure that owners are aware of what's going on, why, and the implications to them as an owner. In the EV charging space, whether it's private or shared charging stations, we're very much involved in this for condos, for townhome complexes, for rental buildings. We heavily rely on EMS or energy management systems to work within the capacity of the building. We haven't come across buildings that really don't have capacity to support EV charging, so it's a good thing. And whether that applies to condos or townhomes, very successful implementations with energy management-based systems. So again, whether it's retail staff, fleet charging, or public, that's our wheelhouse and expertise. So we're experienced. We work with capacity management, and we specialize in looking at long-term operating costs of whatever you're going to do, whether you're looking to save money or reduce the amount you have to spend. And it looks in at the long-term operating costs of those upgrades. So again, we offer turnkey services if you require them. But again, we hope tonight was at least helpful for a clarification on what GHG reporting requirements are and are not. Thank you. We'll go back to you, Sanjay.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks, Bruce. From the floor up to any questions, comments, suggestions, any questions?
So we've got one here from, what is a reporting portal system called for the city of Victoria? Similar to the one we showed for city of Vancouver. They have announced they're going to have a similar portable. It is not ready for access yet. We're looking for that to be released in the next couple weeks. But both for Saanich and city of Victoria, there's no portal available yet. One thing I might mention is if you do either on your square footage, on your reporting requirements, or whether you're required or not, if you do want to know now before the city's site is up and running, you can certainly send us the information. All we need is the building address, strata number and name, and we'll find that out for you and clarify for sure with the city, whatever authorities jurisdiction you're in.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions. Any other questions? Anyone else? Any comments?
Somebody asked about pricing. So if you just fire us an email, we don't mind sending an email back on what area you're in and the cost to do the reporting. It's a relatively nominal cost, but we don't want to push that online unless anybody's actually interested in using our services. One thing I just want to make clear is it's certainly something somebody can do on their own. On the most part, we don't see most strata managers or councils wanting to do this type of work, and that's why we offer the service. But there's a lot of trials and tribulations, especially if you're in a new area like Victoria and Saanich, because as they get it up and running, there's a lot of questions and missing pieces. We're well-trained going through the whole City of Vancouver launch, and we're going to try and use that expertise to help you out if needed.
Okay, since there are no further questions that are coming, I'd like to thank everyone for participating tonight. Hope this was informative, but a very short capture of what GHG reporting means in these three jurisdictions. And feel free to get in touch with us if you have any questions, comments, or any other things that you have not thought about tonight. But once again, thank you for your time, and everyone have enjoyed the rest of the evening, and wishing you a very pleasant week ahead. Thank you very much.